this is the concept that I used to talk about a little bit more frequently, and this was something that we would train our team on at Escape, was that there's really only two types of errors that you can make, both in business and in life. You can either make a judgment error or you can make an execution error. And I think just understanding the difference between those two can help you diagnose what the actual problem is inside of your business or inside of your life. Like, if you're not growing how you want to grow, if you're not where you want to be, it's because you're either executing incorrectly or the thing you're executing against is wrong. So it's either an execution error or a judgment error. Now, an execution error usually comes down to either you lack the discipline to do the thing. You know the right thing that you should be doing, you aren't exercising the discipline to go do it. So I know I need to eat healthy, I know I need to get into the gym, I know the right thing to do, I'm just not doing it. So that's number one, that's the main reason people aren't where they want to be. And like in business, your team is usually failing you because if you have low-level people on your team, they're just not doing the thing. They're not executing the system, the process, the way that they know they should be, right? So that's number one. The other form of an execution error then is you just lack the skill. They just don't, they know all the thing that they should be doing. They just don't have the ability to do it well. So like, I know I should be eating healthy, but I don't really know what that means. And I grew up in a family that thought the equivalent of eating healthy was like TV dinners, right? Or, hey, every now and then put a salad in there and then drown it in ranch. So you know the thing that you should be doing, you just don't really know how to do it well. And that's a training, that's a skill gap. And a lot of times your team or yourself, you'll fail because you just don't really have the ability to do the thing better. And recognizing, okay, when is somebody failing because of a discipline error versus they just lack the skill? That's step one. And I would even look, like, it's really important to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and diagnose, okay, am I just not doing what I know I need to be doing, or do I not have the skill to be doing it better? I'll tell you how we can improve that in a second, but let's talk about the other form of error, which is the judgment error. This is a really big one because this is, you think you're doing the right thing, but you're actually not. You think you're on the right path, but you're actually not. And again, like, this is kind of like tied back into, I think eating a salad every day is healthy, and but I'm drowning it in ranch, right? It's like, okay, that's not helping you because it's actually about, calories in, calories out. It's about macros. It's about all these other things. It's not really about, are you eating leafy greens or like whatever, right? So when we talk about judgment error, the problem is, it's as Mark Twain said, it's not about what you know that gets you in trouble. It's not what you don't know that gets you in trouble. It's what you think you know that just isn't so. So it's like when you're so certain I have the right answer and somebody else looks at you and like, actually, that's not the right answer at all. But you're operating as though you have the right answer. And so it's like, of course you're going to lose. And this came top of mind today because I saw this kid on Twitter. He's talking about how 75 hard was a big failure for him because 38 days in, he realized, what am I doing? It's making me miserable. It's no fun. In his mind, he's like, 75 hard is a good activity for people who are trying to go from 0 to 1 in discipline. If you don't have discipline yet, you have not developed that muscle, go do 75 hard. Now, if you already have discipline, if you're already at a 1, you're trying to go to a 2, so now you're trying to optimize and like maximize the discipline you have. He's like, 75 hard is not the way to do it, right? It's not about like forcing myself. It's about finding the flow in myself. Great in theory. Here's the problem. I went and I just scrolled. I'm always curious to see like what's popping up in my feed. Who are these people that are talking? Because you want to be very careful who you take advice from. Don't take advice. If you want to be rich, don't take advice from poor people. If you want to be healthy, don't take advice from unhealthy people, right? So I go and I look at his photos, his day one photo of him doing 75 hard. I would not look at that man and say that man has discipline. He doesn't have discipline. Like, I looked at him, I can see, like, your body is a bank account everybody can see. If you didn't make the deposits, we can see that. His shot, his before shot, when he started 75 hard, because one of the things that you take daily photos, right? He did not have discipline, but in his mind, he's like, oh, I already have discipline. I'm going from a 1 to 2. And I would look at him and say, no, dude, you've made a judgment error. You think you have discipline? You think you know what it means to be disciplined, and therefore you think 75 hard doesn't work for you. 38, you're like, I'm not getting what I need out of this. You don't realize what it is that you need to get out of this. And so you stopped, you quit. Is it any surprise then when you think that you have the answer that you give up on the thing that's actually getting you to where you want to go, right? And so that's the problem with judgment errors, is that you don't know what you don't know, and you're so locked into what you think is right that you're making really bad decisions. So then somebody DM'd me and he's like, okay, well, how do I know if I'm making a judgment error or an execution error? How do I know? And that's where you need to have like somebody who's further along on the path than you, somebody who's higher on the mountain. They have more perspective. They can look at where you're at and they can say, hey, you're on the wrong path. You're doing it wrong. Like, you actually do need discipline. Go back, do that thing, because you have not won the first battle, which is like the battle with yourself. Like, somebody who's further along can point that out to that gentleman. So this is where like having a coach, having a mentor, having somebody who can look at your situation. They're like, I've been there, man. I get it. I did the same thing. I made the same mistakes. Here's where you went wrong, and here's how you need to get back on the path, right? So that's how you solve for the judgment error. Or you just make the errors so many times, and then you start to realize, okay, maybe this isn't right. That's what happened to me when I found myself in the back of the van. I was like, okay, well, I thought I had the answers, but like clearly something's not working. So like rock bottom's great in that way, because you can no longer lie to yourself. You can no longer hide and pretend like maybe I do know what I'm doing. It just became so clear to me that I didn't have a clue. So those are the two types of errors: execution error, judgment error. If you need help with figuring out if you have a judgment error issue, just shoot me a DM. Go to Instagram, go to the Anthony Vicino, shoot me a DM that says mentor, and I'll help you work through whether or not you have an execution error or a judgment error, and then we'll help you triangulate exactly what is the right path for you to grow your business, grow in life, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.